What I'm about to show you, I've never seen anybody on YouTube tell. It's going to take the mystery out of carburetor jetting when the physics just don't make sense. You pull your plug, you look rich, you think smaller jet, put a smaller jet in, gets worse or doesn't change anything. Or opposite, you're lean, you put a bigger jet in, doesn't change or is leaner yet. What I'm about to show you is what no one's talking about. Let's get into this. Before we get into it, I want to be transparent. We were not paid for this content. This is of our own opinion and our own experiences. One way that you can support the channel is by smashing that subscribe button. It's free. That really helps us out. And if you really want to buy us a coffee because we saved you a ton of money or got you coupons or saved you thousands of being able to get the right answers, join the channel as a way to buy us coffee or say thanks. All right, let's get into it. Hey friend, Shane from HowToWrench.com. Just getting done wrapping up a set of carburetors here for a customer. Got talking to him, going over all his notes. And I want to talk about some of the challenges when you're doing the main work that people can't do, like clean a carburetor and split the rack and do things like that. So I get a lot of people send me their carbs because we have great equipment. We have the vapor blasters and ultrasonic machines and everything. We can do a great job. But ultimately, when it gets back to a customer, they're ultimately going to have to decide the tuning of it or have their local mechanic do the tuning of it, if you will. And the challenge is that there's a lot of garbage jets out there. When you buy like these aftermarket jet kits, I'm not picking on a brand. I get tons of these jets and nozzles and needles, and I never use any of it. These kits, the only thing I use are the bowl gasket and the float needle. And then sometimes even the float needle can be troublesome. It's been a long time actually since I had a bad float needle, to be honest. But the jets I don't use at all for customers, and I'll explain why. And so here we have this. Let me show you what I'm working on. So I've got this FCR 1000R R1 set of carburetors that we've got them in great shape. When you see the before afters, or if you've been watching the video, see how bad these came in. He sent me Japanese made kits that are really cool. So float needles, bowl gaskets, no jets in here. Let's go back to the workbench. Okay, so comparing his notes, he was really happy on a different set of carburetors. That's where it gets confusing too, is like, how long did these run? Did these run at the track? This motor's being used in a car, by the way, a race car. And the challenge becomes is that he said, yeah, I was happy at one time with 120s, right? But here's what I know. These carburetors were incredibly full of fuel leaks, float needles, the needle and seat O-ring. So you had all this bypass fuel, the fuel enrichers were leaking. I mean, it was leaking fuel everywhere, right? And so the problem is, I know a lot of other carburetors run that same thing, that they're run way too rich because they have leaking fuel. And I don't mean externally leaking. What I mean is internally leaking into the engine, right? And so think about this. It doesn't matter what the vehicle is, right? Fuel injected same way. If you got a leaky fuel injector, a pressure regulator not working where it's putting raw fuel into the engine, or a carbureted one, you have, internal fuel leaks, it's going to make it run rich. And what happens is a lot of technicians start downsizing the jets and carbureted, or they start, yanking fuel away because they're trying to fix this air fuel ratio or spark plug reading. So it gets to be pretty challenging because now that I've fixed all those things about the carburetor, now I've baselined the carburetor rebuild. The stock jets on here were 130s, I think. This donor set, you can tell had adjustable needle jet kit, 134s in it. Just common numbers. You expect to see that on a motorcycle, right? So, the weight of the car, the guy's running super high altitude, I think like 4,500 or 4,700 feet. There's just different things going on that we definitely know we want to lean it down. But I'm like, man, you throw 120s in that, I'm pretty worried about it. So here's what he did. Out of the donor carbs, he felt pretty strongly that those were pretty good and not giving him any problems per se. But we thought, well, let's err a little bit on the safe side. So what we did is I had him send me his 120s, and then I ordered brand new, because if these were factory Mikuni 120s, and I'll show you how that works here. You could see there'll be a couple of different things, okay? You're going to have a ring around the jet itself. That's one clue that it's factory. And then there'll be this little like symbol on the top of it. See if we can zoom in there. Yeah, right there. Okay, that little symbol gives me a really good indication that it's authentic Mikuni jet, right? So what I did, just calculating his altitude, calculating everything, we said, well, let's split the difference here. If 130s were stock, you were happy at 120s, let's try a 125 factory Mikuni, because we for sure know that everything is new about this set of carburetors, because he was concerned, well, maybe I had some internal leaks I didn't know about on these, but it's better to be a little bit rich than way too lean, right? And then what I decided to do is I said, okay, then I'll just send you some like 122s so that he'll already have his 120s, then have 122s and 125s. So have a nice little selection to then fine tune the vehicle. But here's where the problem comes. And he says, I've got a bunch of jets, I said, yeah, but we need a baseline from a known good number. And what I believe a known good number is a brand new in the package jet. And here's why. Okay, so this came from Mikuni, a Mikuni wholesaler here. These are absolutely authentic jets. And what that gives me is it gives me the ability to measure them. So we'll take, it happens to be this drill right here. I'll come back to this in a second how I do it, but I just want to make a point, is I could take this brand new drill, okay, not use the drill side, use the other side as basically a guide, a measuring pin, if you will, to then determine that size, okay? And so basically what I was able to do is go through all these different jets, 134s, the factory 125s, factory 120s, some jets I had laying around. And this is why I thought it was such a great example to show you how I do this and how I think you should do it. When you got drawers full of jets and you want to start using some of this stuff, maybe you got boxes of it here. I know this one here is a big one, just full of jets. I measure them, okay? I don't care so much what the number is. So I'll start with one brand new jet. So I have kind of a baseline. I know how the vehicle ran with, a particular jet, right? And then I could start to write that out and start to come up with some sizes. And these little drill bit sets that I got that I'm going to talk about here today, they are pretty cool. They're incredibly inexpensive compared back to the day. This was the first set I ever bought. I bought this little Max set off the truck in the 90s. And this thing, I think, was like 90 bucks. I've got my drill bit set that I never use. Okay, this is what I call an index set just to use for sizing. But it really ran out of the sizes I needed. It had a giant jump. And then I didn't get the benefit of really micro tuning. So I ordered these off Amazon here recently, just to try something new. And man, they were dang good, except for I ran into one problem. When you look at the sizes here, okay, these are all metric. The 1.2 and 1.3, they were the same drill bit in all three of them. I was just going to send my customer one of these and say, hey, here you go. Now you'll have some to compare with. Gosh, dang it. Of the one size I needed to have a difference was off. So you notice here I've got a 122, which would have been labeled 1.2 millimeters, 1.32, and then I've got this 126, which isn't on here. I want to show you, I made it. I'm going to show you how I made it so that I could come up with my own custom size. Matter of fact, to tell you true too, the 1.4s weren't very good. I grabbed another index set that I had, and that's just got a bunch of broken drill bits and whatnot. And I robbed that good, perfect 1.4 and put it in this one. And so I'm going to label this as obviously as my set to use. And then now, after I show you how I made this, now I've got this awesome in-between one, right? And now that I know that that's possible, I don't know why I've never thought of this before. I don't know, why would you make a drill bit, or a drill gauge, right? And I might be able to just go online and I might be able to purposely buy a 1.25 millimeter. I don't know. I don't know what's out there. So it's just easier for me in the shop day to just make it. So pretty cool stuff. Hey, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put that how I made that drill bit in a separate little video for channel members. I don't think everybody in here would be as interested in fabricating something that precise when you could probably buy it off the shelf. But if this is your jam and you dig it, I was pretty excited how it turned out. I thought it was a little bit ingenious myself. But let's just hop back into the video on how I use that custom size to really be sure about jetting. Thanks, friends. I appreciate you. The thing I wanted to talk about, those aftermarket jet kits I was talking about, a lot of times they don't come with any sizing, okay? So they just throw a jet in there and they say, oh, use this. And you bought it for a model. I mean, I have single cylinder, four-wheeler jet kits in there to sport bikes, to Harleys, to everything. I compared probably, dozen different jets and they were all the same jet. They were all the same dang size. I mean, how crazy is that? And the aftermarket company, and that's the problem with this Amazon stuff that's really cheap, is they're saying it's for your model. So if you're not really experienced, you could be throwing it on there and then you could just be having a problem. And I'm going to tell you, how could a 1,000cc four-cylinder sport bike run the same jet as a single-cylinder four-wheeler? I mean, it's just not going to work, and you could cause a lot of damage using those jets. So mark my words. Get OEM, get good ones so you have a comparison. But Once you have a comparison, now I could take, and I could either, if I wanted to, I could even size them myself. But more importantly, I could go ahead and go, okay, wait a second here. This 125, let's take a look here. I got a couple of them sitting in the little holder right here for me. So this 1.26 millimeter fits pretty dang good. Check this out. Okay, I'm gonna go in there. And I get just a, watch the end here. And see that rocking? Hardly at all, barely at all. I'm not resizing the jet, not causing any damage or anything. Okay, so that's the brand new 125. These 126s, they aren't factory. They were just labeled 126. I don't know whose it is, but it fits literally the same. So, and even when you're jetting, you typically go in steps of 5. Like if you have a 130, you'll try a 125, or if you have, or a 135, if you want to go in either direction. In the aftermarket world, you're usually not splitting hairs between like 127 and 132 or something like that, but you'll get a pile of OEM jets after doing jet kits over the year, where if you're a shop especially, you're going to end up with a million different jets that are those oddball in-between sizes. And once again, this is a fantastic way to micro-tune what you're doing, right? Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. This aftermarket 126, had I known that it was good, I would have went with that. I wouldn't have even ordered the 125s. But how do you know if you don't have something to compare it against, right? So now we know. Now we have something to compare it against. Obviously, you're going to be able to go in here and then prove, what size it is. So like this 1.32 doesn't fit in either of them. And then when you're too small, and this is why I made a custom one, is watch when I'm too small what happens. Get a little zoomed in. It's just way too much floating in there, which obviously I'm a bigger hole than this jet. Now, that does allow me to gain some insight, because I could start to watch the deflection, and I know, do I want a bigger hole, smaller hole? Am I going richer or leaner? But I'm not going to lie, is super confident by having the one that I made that'll allow me to be in between. It's just a bummer that these kits are saying that those two sizes are there, but they aren't. So the other thing I noticed about all of these is no matter what the size was that was labeled on there, it aired larger. It didn't air smaller, it aired larger. So if it said it was a 1.3 millimeter, it actually was 1.32 typically between all three of them. So interesting little fun fact. So here's a wild thing though. Okay, so we've got a 25, aftermarket 26, don't know what it is. Let's go back to my custom made jet here, okay? Now here we have we're the 120, 126. Here's a 120, okay? This is a 1.26 millimeter, okay? Let's look at this 120. Doesn't fit, so that's good. We'd be happy with that, right? I mean, not at all. Here's a 122, okay? Doesn't fit. Okay, so we're happy with that, right? Let's try that smaller one. Okay, let's try the 120 with that factory ring around it. These are OEM. Now we're starting to get somewhere, right? Now we're starting to try and do this one-handed here. Let me switch it up in the rig. Okay, we've got the 122 aftermarket here. We have the 122 factory, and I'm using a 1.22. That's a coincidental connection there on that 0.22 millimeter in the jet sizes, just so you know. You can't rely on that as a jet size, okay? So I am in the factory 120, okay? And it's a really nice tight fit. I'm in the 122. It's the exact same tight fit. You see what I'm saying? You cannot trust those numbers on an aftermarket jet, okay? And the biggest problem, like I said, people happen to have is they run a bike, and if you're a do-it-yourselfer, maybe at the track, you're going to look at spark plugs and assess how that engine's running, right? And then from that jet number, you're going to go, okay, I'm rich or I'm lean. You're going to make a decision, and it depends on the quality of the jet, the size of the holes, at OEM is aftermarket. All things are not equal. All right, my friends, I hope I did a good job in this video of showcasing, explaining that. I'm going to get back to finishing up this customer bike. This was a long overdue piece of content I've wanted to make for you folks. So if you haven't done so yet, make some comments below. You know, what methods do you do? I'll put some links to the micro drill kits, even though they had that one-off unbelievable price for the cost of those to get you the 99% and to get me a blank piece of material that I could go ahead and custom make my own. So super, super rad there. All right, my friends, as always, like, share, and subscribe. Make it a great day and keep wrenching.